Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to a business organization. Um, you're either taking me in an online class or a face-to-face class, and this is a conclusion or summarization of our lectures, our discussion boards for this in Blackboard. You already completed the Learn Smart software, the interactive software, so I know you already have been exposed to the information. We discussed this in class, and you've had access to my mind maps to the second tier. You've been adding on to it as you read the material, you did the software, the interactive software, to the discussion, and now you're going to see what did I miss. So I will use the full mind maps. I'm not going to go to the detail we've done in the classroom, but it'll give you a general overview, a quick summarization of what we already had. Okay? All right, so let's see what we have. Rewards and intrinsic. You have two types of rewards. Motivation. To motivate teams, you have to be able to motivate individuals. And all of us, what you've learned from any courses you've taken, or even the class you've taken me for, is that every individual is unique. I mean, we have some similarities, but we all have different wants and needs. And at different times of our career or within the organization, our needs change. And that's what you'll find out when you look at it with the scientific method. That's more for my own personal needs as a business owner. But then the piecework, the more you would produce, the more after you did a basic amount, a main basic amount, and anything above and beyond would be premium. So it'll be additional per piece. That was a good motivator. We talked about what the Hawthorne study behaviors came in. We're going to talk about, yeah, we already discussed Maslow, Herzberg, different job functions, equity theory, recognizing good work, McGregor, theory X, theory Y, all this. So let's go over this. Remember, you could fast forward me, you could stop the video at any time, you could click on there. I'm going to open up every one of these so you could see what you've missed or what you or you, hopefully you, man, I've got everything. Dr. George covered everything else here, and I'll be able to take the notes and able to take that information, and now I'm just solidifying it and saying, yes, it is correct. So to motivate individuals, the easiest motivator is rewarding. If I reward someone, they'll try to do the same act again. Hopefully, later on we're going to go into the different, punishment and everything else. Let's go with reward. So the types of rewards that the author talked about here that we've discussed, and the same thing if you had in psychology class, you have two types. You have intrinsic rewards. Let me just here click on that. Remember, we are live, so I'm not reading off the script. We're going live. I'm going to try to keep this underneath an hour. Intrinsic rewards are inside the individual. Personal. Oh, let me just make this just a touch bigger. I think about 200 would be perfect. All right, so remember, you have the concept maps, follow along. Okay, so intrinsic rewards are inside. Personal satisfaction, felt for the job, a job well done, pride in my performance, sense of achievement. I know that. Maybe someone else may not say it. I don't have to jump up. But sometimes you could jump up and be happy. But a lot of times, hey, I did a good job. It was a hard task and I accomplished that. That is the strongest motivating force that you'd want, the most cost effective. Now, the extrinsic ones are outside. Something is given to me as a recognition of good work. Could be a raise, pay raise, promotion, and award. And remember, if I got a promotion, an award, a raise, and I didn't deserve it, sure, I'll take it. Most employees will. But it doesn't have the same effect if I really worked hard for it and I received that reward. It's like, I really deserve this, and now I could look up at people and say, I deserve this honestly and ethically. Okay? So rewards are strong motivator. And when you're looking at the rewards, you're going to have individual rewards, you're going to have team rewards. Those of you who are doing my feasibility paper, you are being graded both as your individual contributor, and you also your paper will be graded in the presentations will be graded as a team member. Okay, now scientific method. When I look at the scientific method, we had Frederick Taylor. Remember, this was back with manufacturing, everything else is coming out. So Frederick Taylor, scientific, is studying workers to determine the most efficient ways of doing things and then teaching those techniques. That method is still there. Remember, we still do scientific methods. You may look ego graphics or looking at different time motion studies, the way we design our work areas, computers. So that hasn't changed at all. We're still looking at it, but not to the extent that was our only motivating. Is how do I make them do faster? Give them better tools. Give them more lighting. That's what the scientific. How many units is a base unit, and anything. Put that carrot for additional, and what would be the cost differentials for that individual to work harder to make more pieces than what the base, and how do I raise the base over time because they become more effective in efficiency. But so now, the scientific method, the three key elements to productivity. Those are still the thing. Time motion. In time motion, tasks must be performed to complete a job, and the time needed to complete each task. Remember, time motion, you need that when I'm contract. If I'm doing any kind of work and I'm bidding the work out, I have to be able to know how long the task. So when I look at my best employees and my not so best employees, and I find an average time. I know some are going to finish it faster, some are going to finish it slower. Some conditions will be faster than other conditions, but in overall, so I'm doing the pricing to a customer or a client, I know my true cost. Okay. Now, so time motion basically led to the principle of motion economy. Every job can be broken down and developed by Frank and Lillian Gilbert, okay, and that's at the dictionary, in a series of elementary motion. And, so a lot of things came out of this where we're looking at production, manufacturing, and even now we utilize what's the best practices we call it now. Okay, now methods of work, again, determine the best and teach them best practices, and this is motions. The way, and I use an example for lifting. You're not supposed to bend over. The best practice for motion economy is if you lift with your feet, you could pick up more. You could don't get you don't hurt your back, and so you have a longer and more of a safe, productive work day with us. Okay. Now so again, methods of work determine the best. Okay. Let me just put that in here. Okay. Rules of the work, you have to know what the procedures are. Now, Taylor also had 4 key principles. Study how a job is performed, gather time motion information, check different methods, which way works well in which situation. Sometimes the equipment is better, sometimes it's better off to doing it by hand. Codify the best methods into rules. Choose workers most skilled, match rules. Establish fair performance pay. You have to pay them fairly, okay? Now, the grant or per charge is just another way of looking at that still carries over. And we'll talk about them later. Okay, now Taylor's 4 keys to success. Oops, did I do that twice here? Oh, I already had it here. Sorry, you see how I just made my job easier. Just eliminate. Okay, so we have, I just grouped that all together because it makes sense for that, okay? All right, now, comparison, okay, so now we're going to go, are you stressed? It's just what I'm following the author. Now, when I'm looking at stress, even if with motivation, if I'm stressed, worried about something else, I can't motivate me. Or if I don't understand poor training, that puts stresses on me. So no matter how much I say, hey, you can make $20, and if I'm so stressed, I think I'm going to mess up or do something else, or I'm not sure what the next steps are, then I'm not as motivated. If I'm well trained, I know the consequences. I know failure is okay. For the first time, not over and over, and I can reduce the stress. I'm a better motivated employee. I'm motivated by coming to work. I'm motivated to with my customers. I'm motivated in all aspects that we're going to learn about motivation, both intrinsic and extrinsic. But now, stress is one as a manager or an owner should be able to understand when an individual stress. Some of the warnings of employee stress, negative attitudes towards about work. Maybe they just don't like the job and they're complaining about it. But it could be something else. It could be so that's one way. Drops in productivity, something that's stressing them out. They're not as productive. They don't find the joy in the work anymore. Starts cutting classes or absenteeism at work. That's a sign that could be a bit of stress, or it could be also what do you call it? A drug or chemical abuse, all right? For the weekends, carelessness about details, unable to work with others, withdrawn from coworkers, easily upset or angered. So all those are indicators of stress, and you should be aware because some people reach a certain point, and will they for lack of better words, explode to things where they're harmful for other employees or other team members, or even you as a manager or the owner. So you want to keep the employees a good employee, and just maybe something's going on in his or her life, and some of the triggers may be here at home or at work. Okay, so now you're stressed. So you try to minimize the stress. You try to do this. You look at the time and motion, so you train them properly. They have the right techniques, the right procedures, and so what happened? That was the process back then. Now you came up with two or several behavioral stereotypes. You can talk about Maslow, Herzberg. Now, Elton Mayo, he basically did a research. How do I motivate? He was still a scientific method individual looking at, okay, there's got to be more to it. What if we give more lighting? So, improve the lighting. Will employees, better lighting, better illumination because of technology or whatever, will this make the employee work better? So he changed all the lights in the General Electric factory, and the production went up. That was his findings. But okay, so let's see. So that's Mayo, and his findings was the Hawthorne effect. People acted differently when they knew they were being studied. Remember, then he took all the lighting off, and production was still high. So he says, wait a minute. The common denominator wasn't the illumination of the lighting; it was the interaction with management or with the individuals. So this is where the whole behavioralist theory came from, this research data. They were looking at production increase, not bringing in behavioral aspect of people. People have feelings. People are involved. They are more productive. That's where the intrinsic comes in. How do I pull out that intrinsic? Sure, we all want a good pay and everything else, but the pay raises only come every 6 months, or the paycheck comes every week or every 2 weeks, or bi-monthly, whatever. That's a motivator, but after the money's there, what keeps me motivated for the remainder of to the next big motivation event? Okay, so that's what Hawthorne effect came out when people know they're being studied. Researchers, found out workers' efficiency under different levels of lighting, productivity increase regardless of lighting condition. They put them on. You do a theory, you do a hypothesis, right? You have to test it. So you take away, you put in the stimuli. Was the lighting? You take away the stimuli, and basically the motivation factor, the cause effect, should have not occurred, but it still was there. So it wasn't the lighting that was the stimuli. So workers wanted respect. Okay, so now adding on to that, Maslow came along. Now he came along with the hierarchy of need. Now when I'm looking at the hierarchy of needs, the theory of motivation is based on unmet human needs, physiological needs to safety, social and esteem needs to self-actualization. Needs that have already been met do not motivate. So once I take care of my basic needs, I go up to the next need, which would be belonging to socialization, and now I'm in a group, and that doesn't happen. I met that, and then it doesn't. That's no longer a motivator because I've met that need. If I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Motivates me to get a job. Motivates me to find food. Once I've eaten, it's not a motivator. I'm not hungry anymore. I'm full. So what's the next thing to motivate me? Okay. Now here's you get the self-accusation, self-esteem. I wrote this on here, but here's the map, so it's easier for our visual. So if I'm looking at physiological, not psychological, food, water, and shelter, okay, we talked about that. Safety, security. Social needs is love and belonging. This is the author. Belong to a group. We're all people of you find a lot of people, there's very few that want to be hermits or stay by themselves. Most people like to interact with other people. So self-esteem, if they ask you for, give me an example, would be recognition, and one's self-accusation is one's fullest potential. Once I meet that, for some people that's happy to keep on to it. Others, like myself, I meet that self-accusation. It's no longer a challenge. I try to find another, start off at the bottom, work my way up again. Okay? And again, we discussed this thoroughly in the classroom. Now, if I'm looking at comparison, let me just bring this together, of theories of Maslow and Herzberg. And again, this is the comparison. You look at this. I'm not going to go over it. What I want you to do is stop, look at them. You see there's there's close interpersonal, social safety, company policy, physiological, salary, personnel, self-accusation, work achievement, self-esteem. Okay, so when I looked, we didn't hit Herzberg. Sorry. I went from Maslow and jumped right to comparison. Here's a comparison. When I look at Herzberg, excuse me, class, I'm not going to repeat it. What's the concept? Herzberg had two questions. What factors controlled by management are most effective in increasing workers' motivation? And how do workers rank job-related factors in order of importance related to motivation? So he came up, those are the two questions. And his whole theory, he came up with a job contents. Content factors were most important to the workers, the job itself. Workers like to feel they contribute to the company. I paid you. I have an input. I did something. I built something. I'm doing something on my grandson or my son when they were coming up. They want to help. They want to contribute, be part of it. Workers want to be part of it. So let them be part. That's a good motivation. It gives them that belonging. They work in a team. Hey, I created this. I helped this process. Okay? So those are part of the job. Now, it came up to two things. He came up with motivators. Let me do it here. Excuse me. Let me just insert. These are the two main ones. You got to look at it. When I looked at icons, he looked at motivators and hygiene factors. So what are motivators? Factors that cause employees to be productive, achievement, recognition, work itself, peer relationships that give them satisfaction. Now, when I look at job environment, factors that maintain satisfaction. What's happened here? I copied it. Just okay. Factors that maintain job satisfaction, but did not motivate employees. Okay, and those when they looked at is hygiene, help worker satisfaction, did little to increase workers' conditions, salary. Well, once I got it, fine, I'm happy. But everyone gets the same pay. I got my pay for next year. What's going to happen? Company policies. I might not like them, but that's not going to motivate me one way or the other. Status. Some people that may be a motivator. A supervisor is a jerky supervisor. Who cares? He's a good supervisor. It doesn't. It's neutral. So the ones that is looking at the motivators is the job itself, how I feel about the job, that I contribute. That ties into a recognition. When I looked at, for lack of better words, what the heck is he? Maslow. Remember, I'm looking at this. This takes care of the beginning. He's looking at recognition, social needs recognition, and wants a full potential. When he's looking at what are my motivators, okay? These here are basically are the low levels of Maslow's theory. And again, look at this here, and it tells you the two. Stop the video now. Look at it. Oh, now I understand it. So the other questions, Now, how do I reignite employees' drive? I like this. This is really good. How do I put that fire back into it? Or if you got a relationship, how to put that love back into it? Love to the job that I'm doing, love for the passion. And I talk about instructors. Instructors, I love to learn new things. Once I learn something new, I get so excited. I come back and tell the student. If you as an instructor, I'm just using instructors as general, or a manager or whatever, stop learning. Don't come up with new ideas. Don't learn new things. You don't have the passion to pass that on, to tie into social. You already lost that passion. So increase some training. Give them some opportunities to learn different tasks. Something that they could come back and say, look what I've done. When I was going for my master, I was so excited when I was teaching. When I was going for my PhD, look what I learned. Did you know this class? All those new learnings, not only was I excited, that enthusiasm came to the individual. And take that same frame of mind and think of your job or employees. How do I ignite them? Don't work alone. People like to all the time. Partners or teams. Make work more efficient and fun. You're still doing a task, but it could be less stressful. Redecorate your office space. And get away from the same old. You ever see my office, my old ones? I changed the desktop. I'm recording so it kind of looks nice. Don't complain. Think of things to celebrate. Okay, look, it might not be a good day, but look, geez, I got paid today. Look, at least I finished this class. I did something. Happy. Oh, geez, I'm going to read the book. I finished the chapter. I did it. I did well at my interaction. I did well in the exam. Okay, so let's go on McGregor and think. I'm going to go to theory X, assumptions, autocratic. Remember, you have two types of managers. It's how my train of mind. If I think all, autocratic, if I think all employees or students are lazy, dislike it, and dislike work or learning and seek to avoid it, workers must be forced or threatened with punishment. I'm trying different faces. Workers prefer to be directed to avoid responsibility. Primary motivators are fear and money. Take away the money. If I think all workers are that way, I set up my policies and I treat you that way because I already have a bias created or a misconception of what I think you want. Okay? It's false, but that's not what you want. Now, theory Y assumptions a manager Democratic, people like to work as part of life. Workers seek goals they are committed towards. To commit to goals depends on perceived rewards. People can use creativity to solve problems, thinking out of the box. Intellectual capacity is only partially realized. People are motivated by a variety of reward. 80% of your people like the Democratic. You're going to have the 5 to 10% that the only thing they're going to know is either you're going to do the job, or I'm going to fire you, or I'm going to fine you, or whatever it's going to be. You know what I mean? Put you on probation, whatever it is. Small percentage. Don't use theory X to manage 90 other percent that people like this. They're going to be dissatisfied. You're going to stress them out. They're going to leave the organization. Do this one. Don't worry, they're not going to take advantage. The ones that are your problem children, problem employees, utilize this. Your job is not to fire them, it's to change your behavior. And as we learned from ethics, is this more of a compliance. They'll follow along, fine. They're not going to be my superstars, but they'll do a basic job and at an acceptable level. Okay? All right. So we got the McGregor, theory X, theory Y. Now, when I look at William Ouchi, he basically he looked at the, let me see, picks of different things. Here's Ouchi here, and I'm going to go. He looked at research between cultural differences between U.S., which he considered type A, and Japan, type Y. A focused on individuals, American type J, committed to organization, and group Japanese. Theory Z is a hybrid of both, and that's what you see now. I think more of a Theory Z aspect of management. We have individual contribution and team goals or company goals. Okay, and I'm not going to read all this, but you have it. Z, more modified long term, collective, modified. And there's a picture of it. So we already talked about it. We spent a long time on this, explaining this as a motivating factor. What you'll find out with the different theories, there is no one way to motivate. It's a bag of tools, a bag or an array of different triggers, different motivating, different techniques that you could mix and match depending on the environment, depending on the situation, depending on how how much you want to motivate the individual and or how demotivated they are. Okay, so you'll see new ones coming up. Okay, theories of T, X, Y, and Z. And again, here's the pics on there. And they did a real good. Here's X, here's Y, and here's Z. Employees perform better in environments that foster trust and cooperation. Employees need guarantee for employment, will accept slow evaluations and promotions. Employees' involvement is key. Anything you want is key. Employees are it. We have a lot of technology that does a lot of things. I could go on to have a robot talking to me. That's what you want. You can play. I still want to talk to average everyday person because he or she has feelings, they have emotions, they maybe understand exactly what I'm trying to say, but I don't know the right words. They could go through that. Not to say that technology can't, but it's a little more personal. Okay, now goal setting. When I'm looking at goal setting, let me just close this up here. You have different things on goal setting. Here we go. We look at different goal setting. Regular goal setting, the theory of goal setting, and it's not only we have a management by objective, but every organization we all have goals. I want to lose some weight. Okay, so I'm 100. You can't tell because I got I'm in here. I'm sitting up. I got a darker color suit, but I'm a little bit overweight, about 15, 20 pounds. So I put on my board how much I weigh now, and I look every day. I want to lose a couple of pounds. I don't want to go. My preferred weight should be 150. I would be happy with 175. Yeah, I don't want to be too skinny where I look like a wimp. I don't want to be too heavy where it's bad for my heart. So I have my own goals, and it depends on my own personal where I think I could achieve. Plus, I don't want to buy all new clothes. Come on, everyone's got their own things. You could go in there. So to me, that's a comfortable weight for me. Even though the standard says my height and everything else, my age, I should be 150. No way in heck. I don't want to even try it. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I see people have done that. They look like walking skeletons. Not, little meat on me. I'm a good old Polish person. Okay, so if I look at goal setting, you set goals, the company set goals, departments set goals, individuals set goals. You set a goal when you're going to graduate community college. They tell you 2 years, but in reality, they're only going to do 2 years if you go full time during the summer. So your goal setting may be 2.5 years. 3 years is a good, easy, less stressful. So an extra year, you're going. And then it's not, when they go years, it's not like years because I'm in there 2 years and a year in high school. It's how many courses are required. And then, so you finish your associate degree. Now you can take those classes and transfer and go up for your bachelor. But you set one goal. I got an associate degree, then I go my bachelor's, and then I go for my master's, and I go for one. Look, it's sometimes something happens. Some of you might have dropped out of high school, had a GED. I dropped out of high school, went in the Army, had a GED. If completed that, went to the community college, and my goal was, okay, just get my GED, I'll be happy. I'm in that. Got my high school, went for my associate. The government was leading. I made a mistake. We make a mistake. Went forward. Got my bachelor's, got my master's, and got my PhD. Why do I say? Well, you shouldn't tell anyone. We all had different goals, and sometimes we don't achieve our goals because environmental factors, something happens, some pressure, whatever happens, it happens. It's okay to pick up. The people who are failures and don't pick up, you're always going to be a failure. If you pick up and make mistakes, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person, life, things don't happen. You failed the test, big deal. It's only one test out of all the other tests. You'll do well, okay? You missed a class, you didn't do well. I didn't do well all my classes. I got better. I learned. As you learn, your mind is a brain, a muscle. You get better on that, so don't give up, okay? But you set goals. Don't set them so far. If I said I'm going to get I never even thought of getting my PhD. That was the furthest goal for my day. My first goal, get my high school. My second goal was get my associate. My third goal, and that was my next thing. And I said, if I want to get my bachelor's, that's all I need, and I'm going to stop. I got that, and I'm going, right, because the motivation, Herzberg. Remember, I'm keeping going up. Sometimes you fall down. If you fall down, because like in high school, I didn't make it, graduated, I missed it by a couple of months. Just I got a little cocky, for lack of a better word. Why did I tell that? Because we're human. You're coming into classes. We're going to have some classes. Don't drop college just because you messed up one. Big deal. Go up, ask for mercy, go on a probation, and now, and at that time when you did it, your heart wasn't in there. You weren't motivated. Your parents or something, you're going in there. It was the wrong thing. Times change. You've changed, and now you have a different focus, and you have a different motivating factor. Okay, so now let's go my little bandwagon here. Okay, now in business and everything else, for my management, we have what we call management by objective. This basically goes where I sit down. This by Peter Drucker came up with kind of a thing, more of a formalized. It was always there, but he formalized it. So I sit down my direct reports, and I go one-on-one. It's not pre-recorded. It depends on the individual, where I want to develop the individual. So I come up, managers formulate the goals in cooperation with everyone. Remember, the goals get trickled down from our strategic goals to our objectives to our day-to-day goals that I have to accomplish. Or set organizational goals, review and evaluate the objectives. Now I link the objectives to middle-level managers, supervisors, and employees. That's part of my objective. Now I monitor each cycle of discussion. It could be every quarter, twice a year, or at the beginning of the year, in the middle. But you could always come to talk to me at the goals. Remember, manage your objectives. I may have dates that you could come to see me, but if something happens, don't wait till the last minute if the goals have to change. Or you say, hey, George, it's a little easier. Can I add on to the goals for getting that extra bonus? Okay, and then I have to monitor, and then I evaluate the performance, and then I reward the performance. And here's basically the flow chart. The organization, link it, what happened here? Copy. I apologize. Paste. I think what I put, wrong thing. Geez. Okay, let me just get out of here. What I was trying to do? I was just trying to put the arrows in here. All right? But there's an arrow that comes here, here, here. I just forgot it. I was trying to fix it live, but that didn't work out too good, huh? Class, it would have been in the classroom, same thing. What I just tell you, hey, so it didn't come out right. Okay, we have a few more things going on. Now, part of the motivations. Okay, so we've got the goal management by objectives. I think I covered everything on there, right? Management by objectives, right? Goal setting, then flow chart. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's go. Another thing is expectancy theory. So now I set the goal, and remember, everything is tied to rewards or punishment. How hard an employee, or even myself, or a student, is motivated depends on what he or she feels they're going to receive. So the expectancy theory, the amount of effort an employees exert on a specific task depends on their expectation of the outcome. So employees ask the question, can I accomplish a task? First of all, if I can't accomplish it, it's not an issue. What is my reward? Okay? Is the reward worth the effort? I accomplished this. Man, it's so much work. Forget this. All right? Expectations can vary from person to person. Again, and here's the flow chart. Cash can accomplish, yes. Is the reward? No. Not motivated, motivated. Very simple. We talked about this. I love this. Now, the researchers, Nader and Lanner, they looked at the modification of the expectancy theory. They did the modification to that. What they basically say, they looked at 5 steps for the manager. Okay? Determine what rewards employees value. Remember, everyone was different. We did that in an exercise in a class. Determine workers' performance standard. First, what's the standard? This is achievable, not too easy, not too hard. If I got the carrot, I can never reach the carrot. I'm going to give up on it. Make sure performance standards are attainable. Tie rewards to performance. If there's nothing, here's my reward to this performance, and I have no input in that, I can't do nothing. What is going to motivate me? Because it has to have something. If I'm playing safety, we all have to act safely. Most of my accidents, majority of my accidents in the corporate world, and the office people, not the construction people. They already are very bombarded. They left a drawer open, the cabinet fell over, they tripped over some food, they burned some hot coffee on them because they're more relaxed. You don't see it. Out there when they're working with the high voltage, I work for ComEd, you're very aware, so you're more focused. You don't want to hurt yourself. You have a higher potential, okay? All right, so that's the expectancy theory. Now, the next one you're going to look at is reinforcement theory. Now, reinforcement theory from psychology, when I look at reinforcement, is let me just make this a little bit bigger. Hang on, 200. I'll make it just about. Maybe I could. Sorry, just so you could see it, because some people are looking off their smartphones. I remember from some of the. Let's go 250. Okay. Okay. So let's look at the reinforcement theory. Positive and negative reinforcements motivate an individual to behave a certain way. The reason I know speed, because the red camera catches me, I got to pay a $100 fine. I know speed, I shouldn't speed because it's the right thing to do, looking at the safety, but sometimes we forget. The cars go so fast or so smooth. I didn't realize I was doing 100, officer. Here's the ticket, here's your license. And I never drove over 100, but I'm just saying, you see how easy it is to overspeed. Okay, so that's my negative, so I'm always keeping an eye on my speed, more focus. Okay, so positive reinforces includes praise, pay raises, and recognition. Some negative ones, reinforcement, reprimands, reduced pay, or layoff or firing. Remember theory Y and theory Rex. Theory Y is more, and theory Z is more of positive reinforcements. Theory X, for lack of better words, will be more negative, but I still have to do negative. Even sometimes my good employees, once in a while, they do something wrong, I gotta treat them fairly. Not because they're the best, and they're going to be mad at me if that's the punishment that I've given to someone as a poor performer, and performance is not tied to how severe the reward is. It's a basic reward. You forgot to punch in, and this is your third offense. You get so much time off, whether you're a good employee or a bad employee. That's the consistency. That's where you get your respect. I'm not just a real child. Some companies do that, but that's not what I would do. But I'm just saying, just an example, so you can kind of see it. Okay, now extinction. Now extinction is a lot of times when they say if a bully's picking on you, walk away. Bully's not going to walk away. You stand in front of that bully, either address them, get your butt beat, but don't back down for the bully. You're not supposed to fight or you're in trouble, but the bully will know that you're not intimidated by him or her. Now, the flip side of an extension, a way of stopping behavior, by not responding to it. Kid yells, I don't respond to it. The kids have a tantrum, probably not to get the floor too dirty, clean over here, or I tease around. But some people try to give to it. Now, the other part of the extension, the flip side is I have employees that I never praise. They're good employees. They may not be my excelling, but they do a good job. I don't even know their name. I don't even say hi, George, hi, Sally, hi, whatever your name is, Vanessa, whatever, Vadisha. I don't say, I don't reward them. I don't say not even a little basic thing. This doesn't cost me anything. That good behavior, they're going to say, hey, why should I work here? George doesn't care, or my manager doesn't care, the company doesn't care, and all of a sudden they're demotivated. So it works in reverse. Okay, so be careful of that. Okay, now if I look at equity theory, that's what it is. Workers' perception. Am I being treated fairly compared to my peers and other workers within that? The outcomes of a specific person or group compared to others in similar positions. Employees try to maintain equity between inputs or outputs. If I didn't get it, I'm not going to work as hard. I'm going to make up that. Perceived inequities can lead to reduced quality, productivity, absenteeism, and even resignation because I'm not appreciated. Okay, key characteristics of work. When I'm looking at key characteristic of word for motivation, the job content, that's what we find out. The empowerment, the employee has that. He loves his job or she loves her job. She has the control of achieving the rewards. Everything else it just all works together. It's how you decide to work. They don't do one task, they do multi-tasks and come up with a product. Skill variety, task identity. I can identify the task. Task significance, autonomy. You tell me what the goals are, and I can get to it myself. And feedback. I let them know how to do it. Types of job enrichment, a motivational strategy that emphasizes motivating the workers through the job itself, based on Herberger's motivators such as responsibility, achievement, and recognition. Job enlargement. Don't do a job enlargement after you laid off 50 people, so just a motivation, you're doing somebody else's job. When you do the reorganization trick, if you're going to do a job enlargement, is you're doing a restructuring. And you change the title. So the individual, if I was a electrician, I did all these tasks, and now you're enlarging my job. I'm still an A electrician. You give me 50 more tasks because you took the B and A together. I go, hey, this is a bunch of crock. Come on, I'm an employee. What the heck? What are you trying to pull over it? But I take the whole thing and I reorganize the organization, and now I don't call you a electrician A. I call you a high voltage electrician, and you're supposed to do all this. So I can put that in there and modify that because in your mind I'm doing a different task. I get a different job description, maybe a little bit more money, maybe the same, but I'm more marketable because now I have more variety or more authority or responsibility. So remember, job enlargement works well, but it has to be done properly. I teach a course in organizational behavior. Look me up either at College of Lake County or Harper College and say, Dr. George, is he teaching organizational behavior? What classes? That's how I end up paying off my student loans. It works good. Remember, community colleges for small business, medium, or for your job development, job performance development or job development to keep your job current, professional growth. The best for your money. I can tell you, you've got PhDs, you got doctors, you got individuals that come from the workplace. They understand that. They give you real life examples. They actually help you. You can't beat that. You got a good solid foundation. Then you can go for your masters. You can go for your doctors. Go for your bachelor someplace else. But you've had that solid foundation. You'll do well. I just know the two community colleges I teach. They're number one in the state, and that's from my perspective. I get bad on it. Okay, I'll put any of the students against anybody else up. Okay, the job rotation. Again, you can move from job to job. That's it. Look, if I'm rotating a job to motivate, if I'm in customer service in Libertyville, and then you're going to move me to customer service in what do you call it? Palatine. It's still customer service, just different location. I'm a different job. Fine. Move me from another job. Instead of customer service, put me into billing, put me into credit, put me into customer satisfaction, or doing something else, into marketing, advertising. That's where you bring the person in. Take those expectancies because you understand the customer service side, and now look at the our advertising. What do we need to change, or improving the process of the whole process so they don't have all those customer complaints calling to me. Okay. Now, using open communications, part of the whole thing, motivations, create a culture that rewards listening. You gotta let them listen. Listen to what they're saying. Don't put a suggestion box. Bring it up. Okay, the last 20 minutes. Anybody got any question? Good idea. Let me follow up on that. And don't let it go away because you want to do it. Or let's do something. Don't do other committees to drag it out. It's a good idea. Think about it. Listen to them. Train the managers to listen and also train employees to listen. Use effective questioning techniques, not just to keep it going. Remove barriers to open communication. Later on, we have a chapter communication. Ask employees what's important to them. When is social media too social? And this, the author had to say that this makes a difference. Sites like Facebooks are banned in 20% of the workplace. Some argue it's a bad idea to ban social network. Remember, my younger generation, my theory, I forgot what the heck they are. I have it in here, generation Z and Generation Alpha are the two new generations coming up. You're not in the workforce yet, but we're preparing for you. that alienates younger employees. It suggests businesses doesn't trust employees because you can't stop it. You're on your smartphone. Not while you're talking to a customer, not when you're working on some kind of uh, a job that is technical, you could get hurt. There's certain aspects. If you're just waiting around, you glance on it, fine, but not that you're doing it constantly. Just like you can't be texting and driving, you can't be texting, looking at social media, working machines, or doing some other kind of work out there. Because I'm not paying you for that. I'm paying you to do a task. And if you have some free time because you're effective, fine. But if you have too much free time, everyone has free time. Me as a manager means that my goals and my workload to you is I don't have the right mixture because it's too easy. You finish in a half a day, or do I need all those employees, or do I find other things for you to do, job enlargement, or something else? Okay, so we have that. Okay, so so remember, I'm not saying it's good or bad. The younger generations Y and Z, for lack of better words, it's just their whole lifeline, and try not to stifle it. Try to encourage it at appropriate times. Remember, or a lot of times you have it, you want to stop it just to face social media. They're responding to customers' questions because my company has a social media site on there that customers we could communicate like a blog, doing some discussion. Okay, one too much, 24/7 is scheduled correspondence. You shouldn't be, when you're 24/7. I am tied to this, the network. We are 24/7. Don't check email whenever it arrives. Schedule time to check it. I usually check in the morning, afternoon, and usually for my classes before I have a class, I'll check it first to get aboard. So, yes, I read your email. I respond before they ask me. I'm one step ahead of you. Okay, pick one task. Having too much open at once. Take attention away from singular tasks. Try not to do everything else. Work it through. Don't answer the phone at certain times. Hey, in the morning, this is my blacked out time. Unless it's an emergency, I tell customers you can always, but give them a time they can reach you. 10 to 12, I'm always in my office. No matter what, they know they can always reach me. Other times I'm in the field. I can't reach it. I'm with a customer, a client. I'm teaching a class. I'm doing something else. So here's the time you can reach me. Don't be afraid of voicemail. Use caller ID. Do screen calls you don't want. Maintain that human contact. Don't look at the computer or phone. That's generation Y at the end, some of you. Generation Z for sure. And then Alpha, who knows what they're going to have. Keep attention and respect them all, okay? Now, the next thing is recognizing good work. Raises are not the only ways you could recognize. And recognize an employee for their performance within the group. Paid time off. Flexible scheduling, right? You have a parking place, work home opportunities. Remember, still have to bring them in. And you see Google have done that. They all worked outside. That they bring them in because it helps with that collaboration, thinking, brainstorming, and the socialization that you've learned in Herzberg and Maslow. Okay, paid child care or elder care. They have drop your elderly grandparents off. I'm getting there, not there yet. Class, don't put me away. I got another good 40 years yet, maybe 60, right? The way technology is going. Stock options, profit sharing, company awards. I like the rewards. Don't give me something tricky with a company. They give me something classy. Be so, man, I really like that. All right? Company events or teams. Okay? Now, keys for productive teams: work well with others, have common understanding of your tasks, clarify the roles and responsibility. You have to set rules, get to know each other, communicate openly and often. Okay, now global employees got a little bit different. And later you talk about global employees. We'll get into, we already went into that with Hawthorne in chapter 3. Remember, this is a whole series. I think there's 21 chapters, and it's looking at organization, introduction to business organization. This is a series. Any business from small to multinational organizations all have the same issues, the same structure, the same template. So from a small, maybe not the complexity or the cost effectiveness, but they all have to go through the same procedures. So cultural difference, different employees makes worker motivation a little bit challenging. Remember, we already had the Z, how he combined the A for the Americans, the individual, and the J for the Japanese, which are, American, A, J. Yeah, now I understand it. Geez, it clicked on now. Dr. George, A type, American, J type, Japanese. Geez, I sharp. Now, I'm trying to tie it. See how sometimes you get that pieces just flip in. That's what I want you to do with the concept map. It just connects. All right, with the connect. It's also the interactive software we're using for the publisher, the large part. Okay, you have high context. That's us. Culture requires a relationship. Group trust before performance. That's not us. That's everybody else except Americans. Low cultures. Cultures believe relationship building distracts from task. That's why we're all individuals. We do our own thing. But everyone else in the U.S. is all high context. You have a relationship before they even work with you. So if you have individuals from different countries, I haven't leave the U.S. I haven't left the Chicago area. I'm still here, but I got people from Japan, from Middle East, from different countries working for me, and I'm not giving that relationship building. They're not motivated. I can give all the rewards, all this. They're not motivated. They want to say, you did a great job. I have individuals, other individuals from different cultures. They appreciate what I said. You did a good job. They're surprised that somebody, at least you know your good workers and your bad workers. That's one way of recognition. The individuals in the middle are the ones that are core of your operation, and they should be just appreciated just as much as the other one. So make sure you control the goals. How do you do a team goal or an appreciation once a month? Bring in coffee, bring in donuts, bring in whatever that you could afford, and hopefully the company picks it up. Okay. Now generations differences. Now I'm gonna the book did a good job. Here, baby boomers. I'm just looking real quickly. Experience, right? Generation Y. Security. Workplace. I'm opening them up because everyone wants them. Just look at it. I'm not gonna go through them. We're almost at the end. Okay, let's go this way. Baby boom. Experience economic prosperity, job security, optimism about the future. Generation X, 1965 to 1980, raised in dual career families, attended daycare, feeling insecurity about the jobs. You see a lot of cuts. Generation X in the workplace, right? This generation desires economic security, but focuses on career security over job security. This generation, you have 6, 7, 8 jobs before you retire. If the retirement age is at 65, most likely by the time you're retired, because everyone's living a little longer, will be about 80 or 90, if the world's still here. It's a lot of, all right, who knows? I don't even know. I may even be there. Okay, good motivators, emphasis on results rather than work hours, tends to be more flexible, good at collaboration, consensus building. Now, Generation Y or millennial, sorry, it's a tongue twister, English second language, all right? So when I look at them, what's about them? What do we know about them? See, each one going to motivate different. Raised by indulgent parents, used to many comforts like computers, cell phones. Generation Y in the workplace, I'm not even tried, you know it. Tend to be impatient, skeptical, blunt, and expressive. Bad for customers, blunt. You got to be kind of, you got to teach them a little bit the political way of saying you're not happy. Able to multitask. Remember, and efficient. There's nothing like multitask. If you tell people I'm a multitasker, basically tells me you can't focus. Because even all the research, I'm not multi. I only do one task at a time. So I'm doing a lot of one task at a time, but not focusing on each one. So that could be a negative. Okay. Highlight a strong sense of commitment. Place high value on work and balance. Work's not the only thing. They like to have their fun time. That's why you look at after 3 months, we give them some vacation. You want to wait a whole year to get 7 days. They want it after 3 months. I got a couple of days off and go out to have some fun and extend their weekend. So I'm flexible to them. Fun and stimulations are key requirements. Now, Generation Z, 1996 to 2009, grew up post. This is the new generation, 9/11, in in the wake of the Great Recession. Even though they never said it was, but it was amid many reports of school violence. Okay, now the Generation Alpha is the last one. They have not much more. Now here's where you're looking at motivation, communication again. So baby boomers, if I'm looking at communication, prefer meeting and conference calls. Generation X prefer emails and will choose meetings only if there's no other option. It's just too long. Hang on. Okay. Remember, I'm making these lies, so I don't have to do it while I'm there. I'm effective and efficient, and now you're looking, what's he doing? Oh, I remember that. Only there's no option. Generation Y is preferred to use technology to communicate, particularly in social media. So I have to address all of these, and all of these different generations in my workplace have to be able to communicate, be cross communicate with the different types of methods and modes. And I, as a manager, will utilize all of them and CC or tag every single one so they get comfortable in the different types of ways that every other generation communicates. And then it's, we all have our preferences, but I'm just as good as in a meeting as I am in my emails, as I am with, texting or electronic media. Okay? So let me just turn this and bring this down. We're almost finished here, class. Hang on. Expand to 1. Okay, and I'll view this. I think I had this at 150. Yep. There we go. Just make it a little smaller. Okay, in conclusion, what do you think? We've done it. We completed Chapter 10, Motivating. I hope I motivated you through this motivation chapter. There's a lot. What you've learned is now one theory or no one practice that will work well for everyone. And what you will find out is a mixture. I use all of them to what I need and at what time and how I need to motivate it. And the motivation is, for lack of better words, to accomplish the organization's goals and objectives and still reduce the stress for the individual, make it fun, make it interesting, work on the intrinsic and extrinsic, utilize participative management style, but understand some individuals you do have to be the autocratic X-type. You individuals, you have to be more autocratic, directive, because they don't understand. Once you know they understand the process, let them loose. You have more power when you trust them, because now the organization can function properly. They improve on communication. They are motivated. They are there to replace you. You can move up. Everyone's happy. And remember, you have your ups and downs. Set the goals, realistic goals, reward well, communicate your expectations, and you will have a stressless, well-motivated employee and team. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. Please look me up at either College Lake County or Harper College Lake County in Lake County, Illinois, or Harper College in Northern Cook County, Illinois. For some classes, I utilize this. I teach it to both schools. Works out well for me. It's to pay off my student loans. And so just call up as long as people are requested for me. I give back to the society that helped me. And once again, motivation. I hope you're motivated. Sometimes when you're down, sometimes you got to motivate yourself. Try to think of something positive. Every day is a good day. Some people who are very sick, and when you talk to them, you say, man, I know how to have it. I said, how you motivated? He says, today is a new day. I'm alive. I feel no pain. And I have at least another 8 hours or 24 hours that I could do what I enjoy. Tomorrow may be something different. I don't worry about tomorrow. I focus on today, and today is a good day. You could always find something that you could be happy for, and something that'll motivate you or pull you out of that. Because if you go down, you get into a rut. How do I get myself out of the rut? Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and I'll see you, I think, in the next chapter. Okay?